If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/day to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/day for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And the news, I'm quite sure you may know by now. If not, I'll reset it for you. The show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, has been suspended indefinitely by ABC due to remarks that Jimmy Kimmel made in his monologue on Monday. I want to see, I have a decent copy, but I want to see if it's good enough. If not, I'll rely on Mark Ronner. This is what he had to say.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving.
That's basically it. And some people may say, and I've heard and I've read that, what? That's it? It's not even really a criticism of Charlie Kirk. It's not celebrating his murder. What did it, why did this come about? And there are a number of reasons outside of the remarks which trouble me as to why this happened. I've never met Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know anything about him. I don't even watch his show, so I'm not personally invested. But from a media professional perspective, I'm completely invested. And when people want to talk about cancel culture, let me reset how I feel. I don't think that there is such a thing as cancel culture. I believe that there is capitalism culture. In other words, the market can decide who they will or will not support, and there are consequences for people's behavior, which will play out in capitalism. This is not capitalism doing its thing. This is not the market forces determining that people have had enough of Jimmy Kimmel. This specifically happened as a response to the FCC, and the FCC, which governs the airwaves and to a certain degree the content of the airwaves. In other words, if you're broadcasting on ABC or NBC or CBS, you're using the public airwaves, and so that is governed by the FCC, which is different from cable. So if you should watch something on Fox News or MSNBC or CNN, that's not governed by the FCC because you're watching a private signal, cable, and you've opted in. That's why you can turn on HBO and see nudity and the F-bomb any time of the day, because it's not governed by the FCC in a content sense. It's not regulated by the FCC. ABC, your broadcast channels, they are, so the FCC has some say. But what's different here is you had the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, and just for politics' sake. Yes, he is a Trump appointee. But the actions of Carr were different in that he was actually going on podcasts and saying, because of what you heard with Jimmy Kimmel, he was saying that people should boycott the show and also complain about the show, which is more than odd. You're using the power and leverage of the federal government to inspire people to take action, as opposed to there being an actual FCC violation, which would fall under the purview of the FCC chair. That's very different. And also, let's state the obvious. This is, let me put it this way. You know how I say that it's not a free speech issue because it doesn't have to do with the federal government? Okay, ding, 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 ding. Now we can say this is a free speech issue because it has to do with the weight of the federal government using its power to silence Jimmy Kimmel. That's not a political statement. That's a civics statement, because the government is now actively involved. I would not support this regardless of the show. I don't care about the politics of Jimmy Kimmel. This has to do with the FCC being used in a way that it was not designed to be used. The FCC is supposed to be the watchdog, but this is not applicable to any FCC violation. There was no violation here, with the exception of it violating the sensibilities of the present administration. And there's also this. If this rings familiar to what happened with Paramount and Stephen Colbert, it's because it's the exact same freaking thing. ABC Nexstar, which owns about maybe, 24 or so, 24 ABC affiliates. Nexstar is in the middle of negotiating this merger with Tegna, a digital media company. And you know who has to approve the merger? Say it with me. The FCC. Just like that recent Paramount merger. And so, if you want to complete the circle and really make all the parallels, ABC/Nexstar, concerned about what Nexstar is going to program and broadcast, and Nexstar concerned about making sure this merger goes through, is much more malleable, my word, to the wishes of the FCC, who has to approve this merger and deal. That stinks to high heaven. That bothers me in ways that I can't even adequately express. Because if you're going to use the federal government, let's say multiple times, to dissuade voices from having their say because it may be critical of you, what does that have to say for the future of free speech? This is not people rising up and saying, we want to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel because we don't like him. That is the public's purview. We're not talking about the public. We're talking about the federal government. We're talking about someone who specifically went out of his way as an FCC chairman to say, get rid of this guy, and also has the weight of the federal government and also has the power to kill, personally himself, has the power to kill the Nexstar Tegna deal. It stinks to high heaven.
I'm glad you brought up the Nexstar Tegna detail. Here's something else reported in Rolling Stone that adds another level to this. I'll just read this to you. In the hours leading up to the decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel, two sources familiar with the matter say senior executives at ABC, its owner Disney, and affiliates convened emergency meetings to figure out how to minimize the damage. Multiple execs felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, the two sources say, but the threat of Trump administration retaliation loomed.
The weight of the federal government.
Yeah, exactly. It's a direct pressure from a sitting president using the power of the government to silence mockery and criticism and even reporting he doesn't like. He just filed a massive lawsuit against the New York Times yesterday, was it?
Yesterday. That is the definition of infringement of free speech. That right there. That's it. For all the conversation about being a free speech absolutist, this is that moment where the government has overreached to specifically limit the speech of a person on TV or in media simply because they don't like what the person is saying. We have an FCC and a regulation test that we have to pass here every single year. So being here at KFI, we're all very well versed in what you can, what you can't do, when you can do it, when you can't do it, and all the stipulations involved as far as advertisement, endorsements, all those kind of things. We're not talking about an FCC violation here. We're not talking about anything close to that. This is completely political. And if you're okay with this, know that when it comes back around, it could be 10 times worse. All the cliches apply here as far as Pandora's box, slippery slope, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying it's a 4-alarm fire. I'm saying the house is on fire and there are no fire engines around.
Yeah, there's a pattern to this. And Trump has already said he wants Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon off the air, too.
And there you have it. We'll have more on this in just a moment. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains September 19th through the 24th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Ooh, later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. And if you're just tuning in to Later with Mo Kelly, we're talking about the recently announced indefinite suspension of the show Jimmy Kimmel Live. And it's open-ended. It's indefinite. We don't know whether it's going to be 1 day, 7 day, or the show will never come back. My remarks have less to do with Jimmy Kimmel and more to do with being a member of the media and how this is applicable to not only me or anyone else in the media, where you have the FCC chair who was going on podcasts and openly threatening networks, including ABC, trying to encourage boycotts of shows and stations. When you have the chair of the FCC doing that, who is a representative of the federal government and has the power as a representative of the federal government to levy this type of pressure, then we are 100% absolutely within the realm of First Amendment rights and diminishing them. And I would not want that for any show. I would not want that for the Charlie Kirk show if it happened to be on broadcast television as opposed to cable. I would not want it for any show, because once you cross this line, then anyone and everyone who may be critical of a sitting administration would be subject to the same fate. And from an FCC perspective, and I said this last segment, I want to say it again, there was no violation here. This is not something where Jimmy Kimmel went too far or ran afoul. If you just want to make it up, then that's fine. You're making it up and you don't know what you're talking about. But there's no FCC violation. And this does not happen without the FCC chair politicking and also campaigning openly for this to happen. Now, if this were something that ABC just decided on its own with no influence from the FCC, with no regard for a pending merger that the FCC has to approve, then we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about then a private company making a decision which is in its best financial interest, having nothing to do with the federal government. But that's not the case here. And so it's happening to Jimmy Kimmel today. Tomorrow it could happen to Seth Meyers. It could happen to Jimmy Fallon. It could happen to anyone who happens to criticize either MAGA or the sitting administration. And this would should scare the bejesus out of you, anyone who wants to believe that the First Amendment still means something, that the First Amendment is a guiding principle as part of our Constitution. We always hear about how much you love the damn Constitution. Well, the First Amendment is pretty damn important. And the moment that we lose the ability to criticize the president, the moment we lose the ability to criticize our government more generally, well, I know the words we're not supposed to use anymore in media because it turns up the temperature, but that's what dictatorships do, making sure the media cannot speak out against it. I do not want to live in a country where we're not allowed to criticize the federal government because, believe it or not, this has wide-ranging consequences for generations if this is allowed to continue. And I say that because I've criticized more than one president over the years. I've criticized more than one sitting administration. I know what it means to have free speech and what that means for someone who works in media to be able to thoughtfully and completely obliterate, in a rhetorical sense, a president or his policies. And the moment that goes out the door, we have nothing. And this really concerned me because the FCC was actively involved to make it happen, not an official decision by the FCC. And there's also a merger on the periphery, which is also impacting this. I cannot overstate the importance of what happened today and the untold consequences and ramifications which could be in play for my business. We can talk about the ownership of certain media, where you have Jeff Bezos and he makes his decisions relative to the Washington Post or Amazon because he owns it. That's a different animal, because you may not like Jeff Bezos. You may not like what he does with the Washington Post, but it's still a private entity making that decision. This is not that. This is the FCC openly and directly targeting a media outlet because it said something that was critical of the base which supports this president. I cannot explain it, make it any more clear than that. That should make you really consider what is going on and question the reasons why it's happening right now. Let's just turn it around and say, let's say Biden was still president and Biden took exception to what some people were saying on KFI and used the FCC, which KFI is governed by, because these are the public's airwaves that you're listening to right now, and said, we're going to shut down a couple of those shows on KFI because they are ridiculing those who are on the left and those who support President Biden. I'm sure that would not go over well. And this has nothing to do with your personal politics. This has to do with the overriding principle of whether a president or administration should use the FCC to shut down speech which is critical of it. Not inflammatory, not in violation of any FCC law. I mean, because this is something we study all the time. This is only speech which is critical and disliked by the FCC chair and those who support this move. I don't know what's going to happen to my business. I really don't. Because this is that quote unquote crossing the Rubicon. that supposed red line, that point of no return, that whole idea of going too far, because you're basically saying, if you criticize this administration, we're coming after you. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we're going to lighten it up. We're going to talk about urine on a person in a movie theater.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let's go to the movies, and hopefully no one will urinate on you. During a showing of Demon Slayer in Arizona, a man, for whatever reasons, decided that he couldn't make it to the bathroom and stood up in an aisle and started urinating in the middle of a theater in the middle of a movie. Unfortunately, if you're a man, you understand this. Depending on your angle, is going to impact how much of a splash you're going to make. This guy's angle made a hearty splash from what I understand, and there's a video on TikTok going around, unfortunately. And the splash hit a child theater goer like a row in front of him. The father of the young boy commenced to beating the crap out of the urinator. And yeah, that's immediate justice. I think that is, and I'm not a proponent of violence. I'm saying I understand.
I'm not a proponent of violence, but I am a heavy believer in consequence and learning life lessons in the moment at times. There was a guy, because I went and saw Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, I believe that's how you pronounce it, this past week with my son. We went to see it IMAX. Gorgeous film. Oh my God, I love this film. Fantastic. There's a guy sitting next to us. We're in the top row in the back. There's a guy sitting next to us the whole time. First, had his phone out. He started to film the intro to the film. At first, I looked at him. I'm like, giving him a look like, you need to put that away.
Yeah.
He kind of gives me a look like, what? I'm trying to bootleg here. Whatever. He puts the phone away. As the film is going on, at some point in the middle, because it's a long film. Trust, I had to go to the restroom too, and I'm like, please let this film be over soon. Not because it was bad, because I had to go to the bathroom. Didn't want to miss anything. But the guy sitting next to me, there's not that many people in the row. So either someone in front of us, but I swear was coming from my left. No. And this guy was passing the most putrid gas ever. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, Jesus H, man, go to the bathroom. So when I saw this story, I said to myself, maybe I should have pummeled this guy, but he was just passing gas next to me.
Well, the thing is, the passing gas, I guess there's plausible deniability depending on where people are situated, and you know, maybe you can claim ignorance. I'm just thinking, but if someone's going to urinate and splashes on you, it's like, look, the water droplets are there. I mean, there's no denying it. There's a guy standing up, you know, exposed, presumably.
If I'm sitting and he's a few rows back and all of a sudden some liquid, my feet, I'm just like, what is this splashy, wishy-washy on my feet? All you would have been doing right now is reporting producer Tawala proceeded to beat a man within an inch of his life in a movie theater for urinating near him.
I don't think there is a rhetorical response. I don't think there's something you can say. I don't think there's a conversation that you can have at that point.
No.
Because as far as I'm concerned, we all know that spitting on someone is vile.
Yes.
That is vile times 8.
Yes.
What? I don't want to get arrested, but I'm getting arrested at that point.
Cuff me, man. Fine. Cuff me. I don't understand. And to me, this is a more serious look at where we're at right now in society, where someone thought that was an okay thing to do.
I don't know if it's that. I get the sense the person might have been on drugs and not aware of their that's the only way I can describe it, because a person in their right mind is not going to choose that.
But this is not the kind of movie that draws that crowd. I could see if it was like, say, one of these R-rated horror movies that Ronner goes to see. Like, it was one of those things.
Ronner feels picked on. I was like, what did I do?
No, I'm just saying, just like if it's something like that where it's like, you got some drunk kids and they're all like, oh, let's go see the new horror movie. And, they're somewhere, itching for a Ronner. Yeah, I get that. But this is an anime film that is been highly anticipated, and it did have a wide range. I'm talking fathers with their little kids were in there, boys and girls. So it was a wide range of people in this theater. It's not the type of theater that draws someone that's going to be high. And I thought, I said to myself, they got to be high, but I'm like, no.
Mark, you want to defend yourself here?
Well, no, I do like how you'll say pretty much anything to draw me into this filth of yours. I have never witnessed any golden showering at any of the horror films or any of the stuff that I go to. That you talk about crossing a line.
Mark, you haven't had someone sitting in the theater just drunk, whatever, say, I gotta go, man. This horror movie is crazy. And the next thing you know, they're just moist in their seats.
No, let me tell you something. Even going to horror conventions and being a guest at them, horror people are the nicest folks on earth. They get it all out of their system, watching the movies and stuff. Horror people are absolute sweethearts. We don't do that kind of stuff.
Even in your Final Destinationers?
It's not my final. That movie was trash. What are you talking about?
Those are your people.
If there was a movie that deserved a golden shower, that was it. But I still didn't see one there.
But see, this is where I disagree with what Tuala is saying. It may not have been the movie for that, but we know movies sell alcohol now because they're trying to get people to go to the movies. It is not beyond the realm of possibility that this guy was under some sort of substance, be it alcohol. It doesn't need to be drugs, but I think we are in agreement. If that happens in our general vicinity, there's nothing to discuss. I'm trying to beat you to death.
Well, look, don't you have a bucket, an empty popcorn bucket or something you can use?
All those things.
And you know what's interesting, Mo? I forgot, just because when you said that, at this IMAX, the Universal City Walk IMAX, when you go upstairs to go to the theater, the only thing upstairs, the only concession stand upstairs is the bar. There is a full service bar.
I know what you're talking
upstairs.
about.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, since you bring it up, now I can see one of those 3-hour James Cameron Avatar movies. Sure, maybe.
Yeah. But we're not told where it is in the movie, but there's obviously no reasonable explanation for this person to get up in the theater and just on the floor. I don't care if he couldn't hold it. There's no good end to that story. It's not like, even if he didn't hit the child, that he was just going to go back and sit down.
No, you got to make a citizen's arrest. I'm going to start carrying zip ties to the movies with me now.
Because you see that. See? You see why Mark has to carry the zip ties? Because his people that go and see these horror films and all this other crazy stuff, they're the ones who do this.
I will not be urine scapegoated by you, Koala.
But, to be serious for a moment, this is a perfect example of, it makes you think in advance how you would handle it if thrown into a similar situation, and so it's less of a surprise, and then you can meet the moment.
Yeah.
I don't go out looking for confrontation, but I go out expecting that there might be confrontation. Mm-hmm. There's a difference. If you're going out looking for confrontation, then you're probably going to start something.
Yeah.
I go out expecting other people to be a-holes, inconsiderate, rude, impolite, and then I have to manage my emotions as far as, okay, where is this going to lead tonight, if need be?
Yeah. I had to measure. When I sit down in a seat, I think about who's sitting next to me. If I haven't purchased a seat next to me or something crazy like that, I have to think about now if they're loud, if they're pulling out their phone, if they're this, that, and the other. And I have to think about first trying to have a measured response. Like when this guy first pulled his phone out and he didn't put it away during the credits, I'm like, okay, well, you know what, chill T, it's the credits. Then the film starts and it's out and he kind of like has it like close to him. And I'm like, and I kind of give him a look and he's not paying attention. And then and the film is going and it's still out and I see the screen next to me recording and I kind of like lean over to look at him like, is there going to be an issue right now? You're bothering me by having it out. And he took the hint, like, let me put the phone away and that's fine. But I'm just like, you have to be ready for anything now, anywhere you go, because if you don't prepare your mind, you're the type that's going to go off in a moment. You're going to type that's going to react badly in the moment if you're not already prepared. You have to think these things out first so that way you don't immediately go straight from 0 to 100.
This is a good lead into our next segment as we close out tonight. There was a fight on Royal Caribbean. And you know, Twala and I, we've been on Royal Caribbean. Most of my cruises have been on Royal Caribbean. This is a perfect example of thinking in advance of what you would do, how far would you go, under what circumstances would you find yourself in a situation like this. We'll talk about it when we come back.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Later with Mo Kelly. Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We're way over, so this is going to be real quick. But you know, I love cruises. I don't know if there's anyone here who loves cruises at KFI more than I do. I just look forward to going to go on another one in April. You know, hope to have friends and family join us.
I'll be there.
And we'll be going Royal Caribbean. So I know a lot about Royal Caribbean. Twally, you know Royal Caribbean. When I saw this story that a Royal Caribbean cruise had to return to port after a fight broke out on board on Wonder of the Seas. All their ships are named something of the seas. And this was not long after it left its initial port.
Yeah.
We're talking about the beginning of the cruise. And they had to turn around. It had to make a U-turn to go back to Miami just hours after embarking on its 4-day trip to the Bahamas. And it said it was forced to abandon the journey after a fight broke out that was so bad it apparently injured passengers and left 2 requiring hospital treatment. And I do know if you mess up my cruise, my vacation, because your dumbass was upset about something the first day, oh,
yeah,
I might have to join in the fight just because you messed up my vacation.
Like, there are things that happened on the cruise that I went on with you, the first cruise ever, that I had to just say, you know what? No. I don't care how much this may annoy you. No, you are on a cruise. You are on a ship. What's going to come of you getting into it other than you ending up in the brig or whatever? No, dude, no. You're not that. You're on vacation. Now, I did see a fight. And I totally had forgotten about it while we were on a cruise. And I saw one guy get put on his behind. And I didn't know that there were actually ship police. They have
uniform
shirts and identity
and undercover plainclothes.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they came up quickly and they shut it down. And during the comedy show, I swear I thought there was going to be nothing but a fight in there because of how rude people were being while the comedian was trying to perform. But look, I'm trying to relax on a cruise, man.
See, this is why I believe that the drinks are watered down. Because one, I can drink far more on a cruise than I could anywhere else, which is odd. And also, they probably want to limit the likelihood of someone going overboard, someone getting in a fight, someone doing all the things that drunk people do. You don't see super drunk people on a cruise, and I believe that's because, the liquor's watered down. But that's my conspiracy theory.
Is that on all cruises? Because things like Carnival Cruises, they fight. They go get on that ship to fight.
Well, I don't think one is not mutually exclusive. I mean, they could have both. You could still water down the drinks and people still feel the need to fight. I mean, it's just some people don't know how to go somewhere and have a good time. They feel at the slightest hint of quote unquote disrespect in their mind, that's justification to fight. And I was telling you during the break, I will gladly spend more money to limit the access of other folks so I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not going to do Carnival ever again. And if I hear more and more fights on Royal, then I will go somewhere else. I'll do celebrity cruises or
between now and April, there best not be a bunch of fight reports. You know what? That just reminds me, I got to get insurance on the tickets that I purchased, just so that if there is a reason, I can cancel.
That's right.
Yeah, I got to get that.
That's right. We also got to make sure we get Mark and the long-suffering one on the cruise as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're really selling them. It sounds like a whole lot of fun. Could you book me on the non-assault cruise?
Yeah.
The one that we went on, it relatively,
Yeah.
And you're not going to get peed on like in the movie theater on any of those?
Nope.
Well, say no more.
All right, we got it on tape.
Yeah. I mean, however much it costs, I'm sure it's worth it.
All right. Mark is in. I love it. Tomorrow, just want to let you know before we get out of here, we're going to give away another pair of tickets to see The Temptations and the Four Tops. I'm not going to tell you when, other than that it's tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. KFI AM 640 live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app,